Hello and welcome back to the Karma Stories podcast. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today I have 3 stories for you from the TrueOffMyChest subreddit. Don't forget to follow us on whatever podcasting platform you enjoy the most, and if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and drop a like on the video. Otherwise, I'm gonna eat all your cookies and you'll never have another one. Cookies. Alright, on to today's stories. Let's jump right in. This story comes to us from The Drunken Otter. I, 21 male, got a friend request from my dead ex-girlfriend, 21 female. Before we start this story, a quick warning that the content in this one does contain self-harm and the most final form of self-harm. That being said, listener discretion is advised. In 8th grade, I met this girl, North. She was in my band class and the two of us hit it off. I asked her out on a movie date, and from there, we became boyfriend and girlfriend. She was my first girlfriend, and things were going alright. That was until her dad got a new job across the country in California. North moved away, but we decided to try out long-distance dating throughout our freshman year. We were not built for long-distance dating. I couldn't protect her from bullies, hug her when she was crying, or tell her it was going to be alright when she told me about her depression. We got into arguments about God knows what, but decided to keep the relationship going because her dad was trying to transfer back closer to our hometown. That was until she stopped texting me around Christmas, and her sister sent me a funeral program and asked me to go to California. North's sister told me that she took her own life because the bullying was getting too much, and that I wasn't there for her when she needed me. It broke my heart that I couldn't go to California for the funeral, and for the past 8 years, I've mourned her loss. I spent the entirety of my high school career trying to rebuild myself from all the damages. I went to meetings for people who have lost family members and loved ones. I went to therapy for 4 years to try and help process the loss. I had to learn how to become dependable because I didn't want it to happen again. And after working on myself for 4 years, I asked out one of my classmates, Lucy. We started dating the tail end of our senior and are about to celebrate our 4-year anniversary in April. Last night, I got a notification from Facebook saying that I got a new friend request. I opened the app and found out that it was from North. She looks older, but it's undeniable that there are pictures of her as an adult with her fiancé and her newborn daughter. I spent 8 years of my life believing that she was dead, but here she is with undeniable proof that she has been living a great life without me. My stomach is in knots, my heart is sinking to the ground, and my mind is racing, trying to figure out what happened and what I should do. Do I accept the friend request? Do I ignore it and try to move on? I feel completely lost, and I feel like my entire life has been a lie. I spent the entire night looking at pictures of her and her family, floored that she would do this to me. Alright, OP has updated this one twice, but before we get to that, let's get a quick look into the comments. We have one from a user called Woman in Question. It says, she faked her own death to break up with you. Another commenter down below called Luna Sansa said, whatever you do, please discuss this with your current girlfriend as well. She will likely feel betrayed if you take up contact with an ex from which you never got closure without telling her. That being said, I would accept the request and ask her about the fake funeral and everything. You have a right to know. OP responded and said, I didn't even think about how to talk to Lucy about this. I know I need to tell her, but I don't even know how to bring it up. Alright, let's get into OP's first update. It's down below on the same post and it says, update, thank you to all who have responded. I want to get to each and every one of you, but for now, I hope this update will do. For now, I have decided to wait until Lucy gets home from work before I make any decision on whether or not to accept the friend request. I want to know what she thinks, and I can always depend on her to keep me level-headed. But until then, I just kinda want to sort out my feelings. I remember the day that I found out about North's supposed death. It was a few days before Christmas, and the snow just started to hit the ground. I remember walking to the edge of the neighborhood along the main street. I sat in the sidewalk, watching the cars, thinking about how if I walked onto the road, they wouldn't be able to stop. I was sitting there on the sidewalk contemplating for what felt like hours. It was there I decided I wanted to keep on living. It was the most important choice of my life. But now, that choice feels hollow. It feels meaningless. Every decision that I've made since then has come from that choice I made 8 years ago. And now, it feels empty and without promise. I'll keep you guys updated on what Lucy and I decide. Please don't think for a second I plan to do anything drastic. I really don't, and I want to keep making that choice to live. But for now, I just need to figure out my meaning. A couple more comments down below. We have one from a user called Gilbert38. It says, personally, I would demand to know what the F happened, just so you aren't left wondering, and then tell her where to go and block her. Alright, let's get into OP's second update. It's also under the original post, and it says, Update 2, I accept the friend request. After Lucy and I talked about it, we agreed that the possibility of getting some sort of closure would be worth it. So I accepted the friend request and sent out a text saying hello. About half an hour later, I received a notification that North responded. We started talking a bit, talking about how our lives have been. Turns out, her and her fiancé were in town visiting family, and it started to make her think about all the hurt she cost me, and that she wouldn't feel comfortable moving on with her relationship without knowing if I was okay. She tried to apologize, saying that we were dumb kids, and that it seemed easier to ghost me instead of break up with me. She told me all about how, in some messed up teenager way, she thought giving me an explanation to her ghosting me would make it easier to move on. And so her and her sister concocted the whole story. I told her about the years of therapy, the years of loneliness, and how guilty I felt when I started dating again. I told her about how I used to think she was the one for me, even through the nights of arguing, and that she left me more hurt than if she just threw me away. And I told her that in some weird way, I'm thankful to her. Her death changed me for the better, and I would not be the man I am today if it wasn't for her. I then texted, having said that, I will not accept your apology. It's a shallow attempt to free your guilty conscience before you get married. If you were really sorry, you would have said something sooner, you would have apologized sooner, or would not have done it at all. You took the coward's way out, and I do not forgive cowards. She said she understood, but hoped that one day I could move past the hurt she caused me and find it in my heart to forgive her. I took screenshots of the whole conversation and sent it to her fiancé. I don't know if he knows the story between me and her, but now he can have enough of an idea that they can start that conversation. I hope they figure out how to move past it. After all, they look very happy together, and the mistakes of a teenager should not affect her current life. However, I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a part of me hoping it crashes and burns. I know this is not the update some of you guys wanted. Some of you really wanted me to bully my way through the conversation or play mind games to F with her, but that's not who I am, nor is it who I want to be. On the bright side, I can now truly move on from the relationship that cost me 8 years of my life and put the whole story of North behind me. Thank you to everyone who helped me find the courage to face this head on. Thank you to everyone who sent kind words. And thank you to the guy who DM'd me the number for the self-harm hotline. I won't need it for the foreseeable future, but I appreciate it nonetheless. Alright, one more time into the comments, we have one from a user called Bearsona09. It says, wow, she sounds like an absolutely horrible person back then and now. You could say you dodged a massive bullet there. I hope her fiancé makes the right decision after reading your story. She's definitely not somebody I would want to marry. It's unfortunate for him that they already have a child together. I hope you can now move on and leave that B word completely behind you. She was never worth the pain. Okay, I was a teenager once, and I know that teenagers do absolutely stupid things. This one would be right at the top of the stupid spectrum though, because of the effect that it had. I'm wondering about so many more things with this story though. Why didn't OP tell their parents? And why didn't anybody actually look up the funeral or any details on what happened? Or literally anything like that. It just doesn't sound right. Adding more food for thought here, OP said they got the notification last night. That post was 13 days ago, so that was this current year. They said they spent 8 years of their life believing she was dead. So that was only 8 years back. We still had Facebook then. So did OP not have any other mutual friends on Facebook at the time? Or were they all in on this? There's just too many factors here that have me scratching my head and wondering, was OP just that oblivious? Or was this made up? And now comes the time for you all to let me know what you think. So if you're on YouTube, comment down below. And if you're on Spotify, leave a comment on the podcast there, and I will get back to it personally. This story comes to us from ID Peterso. My family hates my brother for dating somebody wealthier than us, and it's tearing us apart. I, 35 female, have a younger brother, 27 male, and I've always saw him as the black sheep of the family. He has some learning issues, and he has the lowest level of college education out of me and my siblings. Nothing wrong with that. And he lived at home longer than any of us. My brother has told me I'm really the only person in the family who actually believed in him and doesn't condescend. He told me I've always been there for him and unconditionally supportive. Heck, he's also told me on several occasions I'm his favorite sibling. He started dating this girl, 26, a bit ago, and I think they're a wonderful couple. They very clearly love each other, and I sincerely hope it works out between the two of them because she's perfect for him, and he seems perfect for her. The thing is, she and her family are far wealthier than ours, and from the beginning, I could tell our parents were a little insecure about that. He also has had a lifelong dream of being in the film industry, and she apparently has a family member who has some connections, and as a result, he's consistently worked on TV shows for the past year. I also know when she comes over, she always brings fancy foods that are pretty much always a step above what our mom is capable of cooking. The fact that he's also the only one in the family who doesn't have student debt seems to also be a sore spot with my parents and siblings. His partner has an apartment in Manhattan, and she invited him to move in with her, and he told us he's taking her up on that offer. Tonight, we all had dinner together minus my brother, and we talked about it. From what I could tell, my sister effing hates him because she's always wanted to live in the city, but doesn't have a job that could maintain that. Our brother effing hates him for being able to live his dream job while he had to give his up. And our parents seem to effing hate him because he now has all these opportunities that he didn't work for because he found someone who has money. And of course, there were some snarky comments about how he might only be dating her for the money, and they didn't know why she was with him. Every time they made cheap shots at him, I tried to stand up for him, but was met with pushback. By the end of the conversation, it was clear that any defense for him was not welcome, and flags are being planted. Afterwards, I called my brother to let him know how proud I am of him, and how happy I am for him, and he asked if I could come over sometime to show me the new apartment, and they even invited me to stay a few days in the city at their place. I'm dealing with so much crap right now with my fiance and my job, I seriously don't have the energy to deal with a family civil war. But I don't know what's going to happen. I love my brother, and we text pretty much every day, but I also don't want to burn bridges with the other people in the family. So I'm frustrated, stressed, scared, and disappointed. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, we have one from a user called Roman1969. It says, so as long as everyone is struggling and miserable, then all's good. When one person appears to find happiness, love, and success, then the family implodes. Well, I'm Camp Little Bro. His girlfriend thinks he's beautiful, and if your family can't see the amazing qualities he has, then they don't deserve him. Sorry your family sounds terrible. OP responded and said, man, his girlfriend is beautiful and has actually done modeling for the New York Times, and my siblings seem to hate that. The fact that he's not just with someone, but someone so good looking. Another commenter down below called AddInteresting7207 said, keep on taking your brothers back, you will never regret it. As someone who has loved and lost both of her siblings, I can promise you I would support them through anything and everything if I had the chance. Don't let the rest of your family influence you about your brother. They are insecure, immature bullies, and he deserves better. He has that with you. OP responded to this one and said, absolutely. One really cool thing is that her family has accepted him with open arms, so at least there's that. OP, I'd be a little scared in this situation if I were you because I know you don't want to burn bridges with the family, but it sounds like your younger brother is going to do just that. They have a family now that appreciates them for who they are, and your family is going to need a new scapegoat. If they were all up in arms against your younger brother and you were the one trying to protect your younger brother, who do you think that new scapegoat's going to be? Oy. Alright, this last story is really going to make you think. It comes to us from OilNo5588 and it's titled, I think I'm being poisoned by my family and I have proof, but I don't know what to do. Throwaway for obvious reasons. It all started when we moved in with my mom's new boyfriend. My room is in the basement and there's a big furnace right by where I sleep. And right above my bed was the oven in the kitchen that was leaking dangerous amounts of CO2. At first, I started waking up throughout the night with weird headaches and a stiff neck, and just overall a feeling of confusion. But eventually, it got worse, and I'd wake up with nosebleeds, and it felt like something was squeezing my head. There was a lot of pressure. So I brought it up with them that maybe there's a CO2 leak, since I was showing symptoms of CO2 poisoning. But they insisted that wasn't the case, because we had a CO2 detector downstairs in the basement that coincidentally had dead batteries in it. The next day, I called the Department of Energy and explained what was going on, and they said it sounds like a CO2 leak and to wait outside until they show up. When the guy got there, he started off testing everything in the kitchen and around the outside of the house. But as soon as he got to the oven, his detector started picking up dangerous amounts of CO2 after we turned it on. I asked him how it would be affecting me since I'm in the basement, and he told me that when the furnace and central air kicks on, it's possible that it's being drawn through the vents in the kitchen by the oven down into your room, or the furnace could be leaking too, which we checked, and it wasn't leaking nearly as bad, but there was a small leak. Here's where it gets weird. So I was recording everything when the guy was there to show my mom's boyfriend and her, cause they didn't believe me. And when I told them about it after they got home from work, they flipped out, screaming at me, telling me I had no business calling them to come out to the house, and refused to believe that's what it was. But her boyfriend said he'd replace the oven and it stopped for a while. But then other stuff started happening. I began to notice anytime I'm in my room for a long period of time, I'll get headaches, and my eyes would burn, and I'd smell something like a chemical smell once the air and heat would kick on. And I brought it up to them when there was an obvious smell of something chemical-like in the basement to come see, and they shrugged it off and said they don't smell anything. About a month or so after the oven thing, I began noticing that anytime I'd eat food from the fridge, I'd feel like crap, like I was sick, and had to go to the bathroom but couldn't. Something told me to check my food one day I had inside the fridge just to see, and I noticed some of the stuff I bought had been opened but wasn't touched, and it looked like they tried to seal it back up. So I stopped eating food that they have access to for about a month just to see, and all of the symptoms of feeling like crap and sick just went away. Can someone please tell me what I'm supposed to do here? I have nowhere to go, no car, and I have a full-time job trying to save up to get my own car and leave, but I'm worried about being here. I know this might come off as being fake or like I'm crazy or whatever, but I promise you something isn't right, and I don't know if I should just try to leave now or stick it out. Alright, OP has added about 5 updates onto this one. The most recent one is only an hour ago, so this is ongoing. I'm gonna start at the first one. It says, update, I'm at work right now, so I don't have much time to respond to this, but I'll be back in a few hours to answer any questions. To answer a few now, there's no locking door in the room in my basement. I'm a guy in his early 20s, and I completely stopped eating the food in the house. They keep asking me if I want something they made, and I told them no, I got my own food, cause what am I supposed to do? I have no other family or friends, I have no car of my own, and I'm borrowing one of theirs. There's so much more going on than just what I've listed here, but I can't share it all right now. So any other questions, just ask and I'll do my best to reply. By the way, yes, I think they've drugged me a few times before. I found needle marks on my arm twice now since we moved in, and I don't do drugs or drink or take any medications. Alright, OP's second update, which is about 9 hours ago now, says, Update 2, for some reason my mom's boyfriend has gotten multiple new routers since we moved back in late July. I think we're on our 5th one now due to weird internet issues, which I've never had internet issues like that since we moved in, which leads me to believe he's already got some type of cameras of his own hidden somewhere, and is getting rid of evidence, because he started swapping out new routers or modems or whatever right after I went to the hospital to have a blood test and drug test once I noticed the weird smell of chemicals shortly after the carbon monoxide leak issue was fixed, which I also got tested for at the hospital too, so I'm not sure setting up a bedroom camera like others have suggested would help, cause they'd just come into my room when I'm at work and disable it if they can see me, and since my doors don't lock and there's no way of locking them since they're like closet type doors. I just don't know what to do. I have no friends or family, and I barely have any money saved to get my own car. I'm trying to get my own car, but they keep doing something to my food, and I can't even stay in the room for longer than a few hours without getting headaches and eye problems, like a burn feeling or whatever. Plus the faint chemical smell. I don't want to just stay there until something worse might happen to my health and chance it, but I'm really considering just going to a homeless shelter out of state and see if they can help me with a place to stay while I work and save up for a car. But that's the thing, most places have crappy public transportation, and I don't know how I'd get back and forth to work reliably. I'm sorry if this is all over the place, but I don't have much time to answer everything, but I plan to go through and answer most of you guys' questions when I can. Now, before the next update, OP was asked if they could just open windows in the basement to get a bunch of fresh air in there, and they responded saying, there's no windows on my side of the basement, but on the other side there's 2 windows that I told them I was going to open up to get some fresh air after I mentioned getting headaches and smelling the chemical-like smell, and they told me I'm not allowed to, cause it'll run up the electric bill, but I went ahead and opened them anyway and tried to keep it from them. After like 2 days, I came home from work and her boyfriend started bitching at me about disrespecting his rules in his house, so he effing nails the windows shut. Like, I'm not joking, I can show y'all pictures and the videos I've recorded of this stuff with the carbon monoxide level when the guy came out to the house if you guys think I'm crazy. I was so scared for so long to make this post, especially after going to the hospital, and all they did was set me up with a caseworker and stuff and shrug me off. Like, I really don't know what to do. Also, when we first moved in, they had a long blanket and tapestry set up blocking that side of the basement where the windows were, and this was before I called the Department of Energy about the carbon monoxide leak that I have video and photo proof of. And I asked them to take it down because I felt like I couldn't breathe, and to open up the windows, and they said no. I ended up ripping them down and made it look like the dogs chewed them up, and they believed it. And I noticed right away that the symptoms weren't as bad once I got the airflow going down there with some fans. But then, her boyfriend effing nailed the windows shut. Like, I really feel they're trying to kill me, and I'm not sure what to do, or if I should even go back. I'm at work right now, and I just keep thinking about all this, how I wasn't even gonna do or say anything about it. Alright, OP's third update, which was posted again about 9 hours ago, says, I will try my best to respond to everything when I can as I'm at work now, but I also forgot to mention, just recently, every time I shower, and sometimes when I itch my head, my hair falls out. And when I'm in the shower, my skin breaks out like I'm allergic to something. I can take pictures of it next time I shower if someone wants to see, but it has me worried, cause I've never had my hair fall out like this. It comes out in small clumps, without even having to really mess with it, and my skin full on broke out when I'm in the shower. But it goes away shortly after I'm done, and it gets really flaky and dry, like there's dead skin or small bits, kinda like sunburn when your skin peels. I tried to just not shower as much, but I can't not shower when I work full time. I just don't know what to do, but I'll keep you guys updated. OP's update number 4 from about 3 hours ago says, Update 4, I'm at the hospital now even though I didn't want to go. I'm gonna ask them to run tests, and I told them I suspect my food and water is being poisoned. OP's last update is from about 2 hours ago now. It says, Update 5, they ran blood work for my kidneys and liver when I explained my symptoms, and I'm waiting to get the results. They said there's no type of test they can do here for what was suggested to me as thallium from another person who messaged me. But hopefully, if that's what's going on, something shows up abnormal, and I'd have some type of proof. I'm supposed to talk with a social worker, but I still have to go back and get clothes and stuff, and I don't really know what to do. Part of me doesn't want to believe this is happening, but something is definitely wrong. And as soon as I leave that house, the physical symptoms are almost gone completely within an hour. I'd like to just leave the state and go stay in a shelter and try and get on my feet. I need to get away from here, but I don't want to leave my job, and I'd hate to start over completely homeless with nothing. There really is so much to unpack from this one because it sounds like OP's having a really hard time in this house with his mom and his mom's boyfriend. But I think there's a lot more going on here than OP might even be thinking. And it's not about what everybody's trying to do to him, but it's what his brain is trying to tell him is going on. There are a lot of comments on this one about people going along with the poisoning story and something wrong with the water and CO2 and all that. But there's a few comments on here that really take a look at the mental health angle. One of them comes from a user called Imperfectly Perfected, and it says, OP, first and foremost, I want you to know that your feelings are valid and you deserve to be safe and live in a stress-free environment. You need to, at the very least, speak to an authority so it can be looked into. The next part may be difficult to hear, and I'll understand if you're reluctant, that's okay. You are at an age that is common for onset of psychosis. The kind of experiences you're having suggests you could be struggling with something. Please remember this doesn't make it less real to you. This doesn't mean that your feelings are less valid, only that there could be an alternative cause you might not be considering. Think of it this way. Any professional who hears you is going to think about this possibility. If you speak to a mental health professional, they can help rule it out. Before anything else, please be safe. Your life is valuable. Whether it's potential illness, your parents, or something else, you're regularly existing in an environment you believe is trying to harm you. This isn't normal. Be safe. There are a few things that OP mentioned here that made me really think of the mental health angle, and the biggest one of those was that they went and got checked out at the hospital previously and were referred to a social worker. I, for one, am very interested to see where this one goes and if OP will update and tell us what they find out, whether there is actually an issue at home or if it was a mental health breakdown. Either way, when I see an update on this one, I'll make a community post on it on YouTube so you guys can see what happened. If you enjoy daily Reddit stories, I encourage you to follow and give us a rating on whichever podcasting platform you enjoy the most. And if you're watching and listening on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and drop a like on the video. It really helps us out. I thank you for watching and listening. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.